There's a problem within the privacy community. The refusal to call out a creator whose motives have become questionable or outright hypocritical to their platform. A creator that claims neutral reporting but has steadily incorporated more hot takes. A creator that promotes discussion while censoring their own comment sections or outright ignoring them on other platforms. The same creator that complains about toxic community members while simultaneously antagonizing commenters with snarky or condescending remarks. The creator in question is none other than Henry from Techlore and Surveillance Report. Henry's no stranger to having strong opinions and reactions to his commenters.
Story, I'm gonna call someone out, because we,
I know exactly which one you're going for, too.
someone, you know who I am, because you watched the episode really quickly last week, said, "Where's the Australian story?" And I responded, we record these on Saturday, and, like, we published the last SR on Tuesday, because that's when I got around to publishing it, and I left that comment, and then you deleted your comment, because you know you messed up. So here it is. We're finally covering it. We record these on Saturday. It is Saturday, October 1st when we do this. Just a general reminder for the timing of this and why sometimes we miss stories by the time you watch these live.
While Henry does receive negative comments, many of them are the result of his own antagonistic comments, which he conveniently ignores.
First off, I know people in the privacy community are going to be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they got..." Then they start getting angry about this, and it's like, it's not about you. Like, they're trying to bring their own service to more people, and a lot of people use Amazon.
You can still buy Mulvad subscriptions with Monero and Bitcoin and cash by mail or whatever. Like, all the other options are still there, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, so I know some of you are going to be, like, angry for, like, no reason. Go outside. This speaks to, like, guys, math. It's math. Encryption is math.
Yes, but I don't understand math. I'm bad at it.
True, but, like, people can prove math, and you can trust the people who are able to verify that. So when people spout BS, like Signal is compromised, you're effectively saying that math isn't real at the end of the day. Like, at least the encryption side of Signal, right? Like, you can go ahead, but even, you know what, even the phone number is hashed. Like, so technically speaking, Signal doesn't quite know everyone's phone numbers, but people also dismiss that. Trying to, like, get factual with people who believe these things is very difficult, but it's the same thing with Proton Mail. People who think Proton Mail can read your emails, you're effectively saying that math just isn't math at that point.
But what I really want to harp on, I think I've already seen some people really run away with the story with their conspiracy hats on because they didn't quite understand how it's done. So I know some people are getting their conspiracy hats on and think that either A, there's some secret GPS chip on your phone, or B, they can ping your GPS even when it's off. And that is not what is happening, so please do not fearmonger and spread this around, because it's only going to scare the out of people. They are likely using cell tower triangulation pings that actually don't have anything to do with your device's GPS chip, which is not what the name sounds like. So what happens here is your phone pings, because it's trying to find the fastest tower when you're trying to connect to the internet, and it's going to ping different towers. And occasionally cell companies can actually take this data and use it to pretty much like perfectly target where you are location-wise with 3 different cell towers with cell tower triangulation. This is typically how this is done. It didn't actually specify this in the article, but that's how almost all of these tend to be done. The only other possible technique they may be using is they might be purchasing GPS data from apps and companies who do collect this data, but that doesn't seem to be the case with this, since it's confirmed they're working with mobile phone companies on this, who do location tracking with cell tower triangulation, and as far as we know, and all evidence and laws of physics and math tell us, cannot just activate your GPS chip on your phone without your knowledge. So just to clear that up, because I know I already saw some people mention that, and that's just not true.
Our research story this week comes from a paper that says evil never sleeps when wireless malware stays on after turning off iPhones. When an iPhone is turned off, most wireless chips stay on. For instance, upon user-initiated shutdown, the iPhone remains locatable via the Find My network. If the battery runs low, the iPhone shuts down automatically and enters a power reserve mode. Yet users can still access credit cards, student passes, and other items in their wallet. We analyze how Apple implements these standalone wireless features, working while iOS is not running, and determine their security boundaries. on recent iPhones, Bluetooth, NFC, which is near field communication, and ultra wideband keep running after power off, and all 3 wireless chips have direct access to the secure element. As a practical example of what this means to security, we demonstrate the possibility to load malware onto a Bluetooth chip that is executed while the iPhone is off, unquote. Yeah, basically, researchers were able to upload malware to an iPhone that was turned off. I agree with you totally, because if his phone had been off and they were still pinging it, I guarantee you the article would have mentioned that, because that would be incredible.
Yes.
But also, we're still waiting for like a username set up so that you don't have to even rely on phone numbers in the first place. Which, by the way, we've actually seen a few comments of people who are like, this show is just shilling Signal. First off, we're not paid anything to talk about Signal. Either way. Like, Signal is a massive non-profit organization. Like, we have nothing to do with Signal. But also, like, we still like to criticize services when it's needed. But at the end of the day, Signal is just a fantastic service for a lot of things. And it fits a lot of threat models very nicely. But we still think that it would be fantastic for them to drop their phone number requirement.
I was gonna say, for the record, that's a criticism right there. It's like, just because we're not saying like delete Signal, it's trash, doesn't mean we're not criticizing it. But it's like, hey, you guys have been promising usernames for, God, what, like 2, 3, maybe even more now years? Like, when are you guys gonna do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's still a criticism, just because we're not telling you to pick up the pitchforks.
Exactly, and that's the confirmation bias I was talking about earlier. If you're someone who believes that Signal's compromised and we're not on the same boat as you now think that we're somehow super pro Signal and are unable to criticize it. And if you're someone who's super pro Signal and we even bother to criticize it a little bit, you're gonna think that we're super against Signal. And because we know this happens because some of you, we see the same comment regarding the same story and people interpreted it literally the exact opposite way. You should look into confirmation bias if you don't know what that is and you listen to our podcast. It'll probably make you a lot less angry about the stories we cover down the road.
There's no justification for his condescending and snarky remarks, nor does Henry have the right to cry foul at the resulting backlash in the comment sections. Instead of addressing these criticisms and opposing opinions in a civilized manner, Henry would rather label these people as either toxic or simply conspiracy theorists and censor their comment.
The implication is that the person you're dealing with actually wanted to listen to the story and actually assess it on a critical level. And the people who just think Proton is a honeypot are not able to do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm calling you out because I know that we're gonna get a comment on this video saying, I can't believe that you guys even covered Proton Mail because it's a honeypot. And you're the person who literally cannot think critically about the situation. And there's just no other way to say it. Like, we have all of the facts today. Like, we know what they handed over to the court. We know what they said beforehand. We know what they did after. And we know what they collect. They publish transparency reports. It lines up with the court cases that we receive. Everything's open source. We can verify the math and what happens and what they can access, what they can't access. But everything's out there.
But Henry, I read an article that said if you play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, then Signal was founded by the CIA. Or
Yeah.
Proton, whatever.
Yeah, I'm an avid Neocities blog reader. Dude, if we're gonna really ruffle some feathers, it's gonna be this one. I don't think we've ever gotten this off the rails with the surveillance report. I don't think we're gonna do this every week, but I think we got caught on the wrong weekday to do this podcast today.
Do you have any final words before I start kind of ending things off here?
I don't think so. I'm interested to see what the community, what you guys have to say about all this in our discussion forums.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know in the comments, and let us know definitely on our forum too, because I think some people are going to take this talk really well, and some people are going to take this talk not so well. And it is what it is, because we're going to publish this anyway, so I hope you all, if you don't like it, you might as well unsubscribe. I don't know why you're subscribed if you don't like this talk, because I feel like we generally stick pretty well to these values. So
yeah, I think the rest of the channel is probably not for you.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying we're perfect. We make mistakes. You should speak up when we make those mistakes. We like that. But I don't think it's the right channel for you.
It's no secret Henry is pro-censorship, especially on those platforms that he has control over.
I will say, just from our perspectives, what do you guys think about internet censorship? I guess from my perspective, we have our own communities, and they're our communities. I think we can do whatever the hell we want with them. If we have our own community, and we ban you because you're being an asshole in our community, that's not invading your freedom of speech. You know, like we have freedom of speech too, and it's our platform. We get to choose what we allow on the platform. So there's a difference there. Freedom of speech isn't freedom from consequences.
It's really interesting that Harry wants open communication and discussions with his audience, yet is a big supporter and perpetrator of censoring those with opposing views from participating in such discussions. The same thing cannot be said about his Odyssey commenters, however, who are basically ignored. However, this could be considered as a blessing in disguise, as it means more genuine discussions between viewers and less meddling from comment censorship.
Well, if YouTube gets removed, we lose access to almost 200,000 people. And so that's why I always wanted a newsletter.